For God's sakes, this is Michigan. I didn't think I'd make another video so soon, but after I shot the last one, I remembered that I went to the Michigan-Ohio State game one year at the Big House, and that's the subject of this video. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Anwar Youssef Dunbar, and I'm back for my second Michigan-Ohio State 2019 video. I didn't think I'd be back making another video so quickly, and I want to make this one short since the last one was kind of lengthy. But something occurred to me just after I taped that video, and I was sitting and thinking to myself, wait a minute, didn't I go to the game one year? And I was looking around my stacks of books and papers here, and actually the camera's pointed this way so you can't see that I have this stack of, or should I say stacks of books and papers that are kind of piled up. And I think my mother kind of got on me about this when she came here to visit over the summer, but buried underneath some of these books are some of my old Michigan football programs. And so I said, yeah, I went to the game. And it turns out that I went to the game in 2013 when Ohio came into the Big House. By the way, check out my my previous video, which is my prediction for Saturday's game on November 30th, 2019. I loosely predicted the Maize and Blue to win 31-28, which obviously is just a prediction. It's just for fun. It could change. It could be more, and Ohio State could whack us by a whole lot. But that's what YouTube is for, and that's part of the fun of this thing. I think this year I want my team to win, but I think I'm gonna just try to detach from what happens on the field and just try to enjoy the whole experience. In the last video I talked about how painful some of the losses were last year, and then 2017, and then 2016, and so I think I just want to enjoy the experience. And that video, my prediction video, it's already getting a lot of views, and the Ohio fans are already coming in saying we're going to crush you guys, and you guys won't be able to run the ball or do anything against us, and Shea Patterson's going to be running around for his life, and all these different things. So this is going to be a fun week leading up to kickoff on Saturday. So yeah, I went to the game in 2013, and this is the program, and there are three Michigan football players standing on the front here. This is Fitzgerald Toussaint, Jabril Black, and Courtney Avery. They're all rocking their Michigan letter jackets, and how about that, khakis? And these were three of Brady Hoke's players. Brady Hoke took over. So that year, I was living here down in the DMV, the DC area, and I said, you know what? I've never gone to the game, and I want to go to the game. I want to say that I've been there. And it was Brady Hoke's second year. No, actually, it was his third year, because he beat Ohio his first year with Rich Rod's players, and then like his entire coaching tenure at Michigan, each year got steadily worse. But that first year he was able to beat Ohio. That was Luke Fickell was coaching Ohio, and Braxton Miller was a freshman that year, and Speaking of which, Buckeye fan, yeah, I'm going with the Ohio shtick again in honor of Brady Hoke. But that was Brady's third year, and Devin Gardner had taken over the previous year the quarterback duties from Denard Robinson, who had gotten hurt. And he played pretty decently, and I think we were in the game in Columbus for the first half, and then we, melted down in the second half. But um, there were a lot of expectations going into that 2013 season, and again, each of Brady's years got steadily worse. And it turns out he could recruit because he recruited a lot of talent, and he just, for whatever reason, couldn't seem to develop the talent, him and his staff. And one of the most notable deficiencies was the offensive line play. And towards the end of his tenure, what we saw were his Michigan offensive lines being shoved around, and for whatever reason, they couldn't pass protect and they couldn't run block. I don't know why. Either that was a lack of strength training or technique or something, but his teams were getting shoved around, which was not a pretty thing to see, or a good thing for Michigan fans to see, because traditionally the offensive line has been one of our strengths under Lloyd Carr, under Coach Mueller, under Bo. So in any case, team number 134 underperformed, and by the time the Ohio game came around, there was still some excitement. By the way, I tried to get two buddies. Well, I thought two buddies wanted to go to that game with me, and I bought 2 tickets ahead of time for them, and then at the last minute they pulled out, and I think it's because that the Michigan team was underperforming at that time. So Ohio was ranked, but Michigan probably, I think, fell out of the rankings at that time. And so 2 months earlier, they said, yeah, we want to go to the game. And then at the time of the game, they kind of pulled out. But fortunately, I had a buddy in the area. Shout out to my buddy Randy. He bought those tickets, and he came to the game, and we had a good time. But be careful about buying tickets ahead of time for people who say they want to go. So even though Michigan had underperformed, and Ohio was coming in playing at a high level, there was still excitement surrounding the game, and there was still some hope in the stands that our team would at least make it a game. And that's what happened. It was a cold November Saturday. If you go to a football game outdoors in the Midwest in November, it's going to be chilly, it's going to be cold. And I actually prefer watching the games indoors on TV. You can get to the food, you're warm, you can change the station. But anyway, so we were there in the big house, and it was cold, and Brady Hoke was down there on the sidelines with his arms folded, clapping, with his shades on, no headset. And that was one of the running jokes, or should I say one of the frustrations with our Michigan fans, was that he never had his headset on. So after every loss, under the comment sections of all the videos or on Twitter, you'd see a bunch of fans saying, why doesn't he put his freaking headset on? Why doesn't he wear his headset? He needs to put his headset on. So Brady was down there clapping his hands with his arms folded, his shades on, saying, come on, let's go. Let's go. He was a funny guy. He was a good coach. He could recruit, really cared about the players. I like to think of Brady as your chubby, obnoxious uncle / football coach. But he could recruit, and he did care about the players. So in any case, Michigan competed that day from the first series. I remember we were sitting so that we could see the field like this. We weren't sitting so we could see it horizontally. We were sitting so we could see it vertically, kind of in the student section, but not in the student section. And I remember that. I think that first offensive play, Devin Gardner hit Jeremy Gallon for a large gain, and the team came to play despite the fact that they were underdogs and they weren't ranked. They came to play, and they made it a game, and they really seemed to open up the playbook. and play freely and play competitively, despite how the rest of the season had gone. And our team put up points. Devin Gardner had a good day that day, and Ohio put up points as well. Braxton Miller had a good game that day, and he gashed us on the ground and through the air. And the game came down to the closing seconds. And we had the ball, and we, let's see, drove the ball down. And actually, so it was in our end zone. So we're looking right down at what's going on. And we scored a touchdown to make the game 42-41. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, we're going to kick the extra point and go to overtime, and then we're going to duke it out some more in overtime. But Brady Hoke and Al Borges sent out the offense, and I was like, whoa, we're going for it. And sure enough, our offense went for it, and Devin Gardner dropped back and threw a pass, I think, that got batted down or intercepted in the end zone, and Ohio won that game 42-41. I think at that time they still had the divisions set up into the leaders and the legends division, so it wasn't based upon geography. So in the Big Ten championship game, Ohio matched up against Michigan State, who beat them, and went on to the college football playoff, I believe. I think that's what happened. Either way, Ohio went on to Indianapolis for the championship game. We went to a bowl game. I think it might have been against South Carolina or something like that, and Shane Morris played in that game instead of Devin Gardner. And that next year, Braxton Miller got hurt. J.T. Barrett stepped in. And then J.T. Barrett got hurt and Cardell Jones stepped in. And Ohio went on that magical run to the national championship. That next year, Michigan, we sunk even further. And Brady Hoke eventually got fired after the team underperforming, the fans getting restless, Devin Gardner underperforming, Shane Morris getting banged up. I think it was against Minnesota, and that was it for Brady. But going back to what I said at the beginning of the video, Brady recruited, and Brady left Coach Harbaugh a lot of players on offense and defense. He left Wilton Spate. He left Davion Smith, J.U. Chesson, Amara Darboh, Jake Butt, and, a mediocre offensive line. And on the defensive side, he left Chris Wormley and Ryan Glasgow and Jordan Lewis and Channing Stribling and Jabril Peppers. And he left a lot of players for Jim to start his new program with. Ohio came back in 2015 and blew us out again. But those players that Brady left actually led the team down to Columbus for that fateful and unfortunate 2016 game. So it's interesting how how this all works out. Coaches come in, and if the previous coach leaves a lot of players, that coach usually has a good year, but he eventually has to restack the deck with his own players, and if he doesn't, the team slides down, and that coach gets fired eventually, which is what happened with Brady Hoke. So I just wanted to make a quick video reminiscing on that time. That was my only time going to the Michigan-Ohio State game. I would like to go down to the Snake Pit at some point, which is what we call the Horseshoe in Columbus, to see the game there. That would be kind of exciting, especially on one of those nice gray November days. But I hear that it's not always safe for Michigan fans. I hear that going down to the Horseshoe is kind of like going to see the Raiders play at home if you're a Buffalo Bills fan or one of their rivals. I heard it can get near violent if you're not careful down there in Columbus as a Michigan fan. And that there was a lot going on in my personal life at that time. which I won't get into here. But I just want to make this video. I thought about it after I shot the previous one and said, yeah, I had gone to the game before. And so that's all I've got. Please check out the previous video where I talk about the history of the game some more and I give my prediction. And if you're going to leave comments, please be civil, Buckeye fans. If you've been to the game and you have some memories of your own, please leave those in the comments section below. I'm going to, leave all my Michigan football videos and blog posts and in the description box below. I'm also going to leave my blog post, or should I say my essay, on A Voice for Men about why football is important for boys and what the game teaches as they transition into manhood and into adulthood. And with that, that's all I've got. Please like the video, please share it, and please subscribe to my channel. Go Blue, beat Ohio, and always remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Take care, and I'll talk to you the next time. Bye-bye. By the way, I wanted to say that in addition to being a very good recruiter, Brady Hoke actually had a lot of memorable quotes. And the first one that I can think of is the one I used at the beginning of this video, which is, "For God's sakes, this is Michigan." He had a high voice. And I didn't watch his first press conference, but my buddy Randy, who helped me unload those 2 tickets I talked about in the video, he made a joke about it, and he said, they play that all the time here on the radio. And at the time I was living in DC, so I was unfamiliar with the fact that they were using that as a drop on the radio up in Detroit. And then the other one, of course, is Ohio. I don't know if Brady did that on purpose to spite the Ohio State fans, but that was his other known gaffe, which I use quite a bit here on my channel in these Michigan videos because I think it's funny. And I think he also, the other thing I remember was him at that press conference, someone asking him, well, what's up with the, are you going to try to get Michigan back into the national title hunt? And Brady said, well, we need to win the Big Ten, you got to win the Big Ten first. So his, kind of like Lloyd Carr, it was, win the Big Ten first and let everything else settle itself out. So I just wanted to say that opening quote in the beginning, that's where that came from. That was one of Brady Hoke's most memorable media sound bites, in addition to all the damage control that he had to do as the program kind of sunk further and further over his 4 years. Okay, that's it. Take care. I'll talk to you the next time. Bye-bye.